I'm here today with the lovely Jessica Atkinson,
Thanks.
you're welcome, who I met through my husband, and I'll give you a very concise background, and Jess, feel free to hop in and kind of provide some more detail around your background. But you have been a dental hygienist for years, but you're also very active politically in that community. You are an educator as well, and you take it very seriously to help your profession expand, to liberate them almost. To
what we call that is being able to practice to the scope of our education.
Yes.
So as a dental hygienist, your education is much broader and deeper than anyone realizes. The regular grocery shopper doesn't know that I have a bachelor's degree in dental hygiene. And even if I had an associate degree, I did a bachelor's amount of work in order to get an associate degree. That I have a background in embryology, I have a background in anatomy, I have a background in pharmacology, I have a background in which dental materials are used in your mouth and how they react to your body and how they react to the things I'm using in your mouth. My education is broad and deep. I know how to recognize disease. I'm even tested on how to diagnose that disease.
And not just disease of the mouth, but being able to see things there that then trickle throughout the body.
Correct. And recognizing systemic diseases as oral manifestations. And this is what I was taught to do, and I was tested to do, and I had to show a competency in those things. And depending on the state, I am able to use that education to a degree. And in a state of Utah, I only use a part of what I was educated to do. And sometimes I actually use more of what I was educated to do, but not necessarily legally. And we'd like to see that reflected in our state laws, and be able to remove unnecessary barriers where we can be a help to the public.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nuance there. What that looks like and what that means is different for each state. And I'm on the forefront of what we hope it could look like for the state of Utah.
Yeah, and then even having to adapt that to current situations around COVID right now too.
Oh, yes, for sure. We, as a dental hygienist, we are the tippity top as far as in danger of contracting COVID, because we create aerosols when we clean teeth. Our instruments create aerosols, and those infectious diseases can stay in the air a lot longer around us. So I think our protective equipment's going to change. I don't think the necessity of our job is going to change, but how we approach that is definitely going to be impacted by the current situation.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll end up touching on that a little bit as we go throughout this conversation, but I want to start off by asking you what makes you an entrepreneur.
What makes me an entrepreneur
is
understanding what I have to offer. So how my entrepreneur life started was with an idea. And one of the action items I'll share later as a concise soundbite would be to share your ideas. Share what you're thinking about with other people. So I was talking to a friend and telling her that I saw a need for my students to see how to use certain instruments at home. They had their book, they could read it, they could practice on what's called a typodont, which is a mouth with teeth that they can practice instrumentation on. But they had a hard time because they didn't know what that looked like. And I was like, we need to do videos or something. And I imagine we could do videos that show them how to do things. And I originally didn't even have a business concept that this could turn into something that would make money. My thoughts were, I want to provide a resource for my students to be better at what they're learning in order to serve the community.
Yeah.
And she was talking to one of my other colleagues, and they wanted to write a book, and we all just kind of talked about this and networked. So I shared ideas, which found the people who were also sharing ideas, and then was born Hygiene Edge. So at the very beginning, there were 3 of us. So my colleague, Shelly Brown, my classmate and colleague, Candy Kidd, and the 3 of us started doing these videos and wanted to show students how to be better at what they were learning at in school. And we started a YouTube channel. This is how we decided to get this information out.
When did you start the YouTube channel, and what's it called?
We started the YouTube channel in 2014, and it's called Hygiene Edge. That's our YouTube channel. We have a website now. We have a blog. We have an Instagram account. We have a Twitter. This has grown. And the reason why this has grown is because the 3 of us were working on this, and we also worked at a dental hygiene college with a colleague named Malia Lewis, and she is very business minded. Her husband's a marketer. She has some natural marketing tendencies, and she goes, I want to be involved in this. Would it be okay if I helped you out and became involved? And from that point forward, it really just took off in our own way of thinking that it took off.
Right, and it wouldn't have had you not shared those ideas.
Correct.
Right?
And it wouldn't have if she didn't feel like she could approach me and say, hey, would you like some help with this? And for me, it started out as an education piece, and it grew into this is necessary. This is something that we can offer, and this is something that is needed. Before that, when you would Google a video on a certain type of instrumentation, you'd pull up like videos from 1970 something with someone using like no gloves in someone's mouth, and just really, really outdated information.
Yeah.
And by no means was our stuff perfect at the get-go, like at all. But as we've gotten better, and we still do. We still just film on our telephone and we upload these videos, and it's become a situation where we knew that we had something to offer. And I would say that currently we're the foremost online educator with dental instrumentation that's not solely connected to a particular college or a product. So we started at the beginning, we didn't have any sponsors, nothing like that. We just used the things that we liked, and it was always an education platform. So even now when we work with certain companies, our base is, what's the education piece? Like, what underlies this product?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a toothpaste. What's the education piece? Well, as the education piece, you learn about the different dentifrices and what are the active ingredients. So we talk about what are some active ingredients of this toothpaste. This is a good example of using, a sodium fluoride or a number of different active ingredients. And so it has an education base. And that's our goal, is to never push for a product, because there's like a intellectual piece that a dental hygienist needs to understand in order to back a product.
Yeah.
So now the 3 of us run Hygiene Edge. It's me, Shelly, and Malia. Candy is running a cute little farm up in Oregon with her husband and her children. And so she has stepped back away from hygiene, but she really started the connecting piece of hearing different ideas and getting us together. So
well, and just this morning I was having a conversation with some coworkers, and in those moments of brilliance where a phrase just comes out of your mouth that you've never said before, in this brainstorm session we were having, I said the string of words of, we need to help create an arena of innovators. And I feel like that defines exactly what you were just talking about. And you can't have an arena with one person.
And you can't have an arena with people of the same strengths. So
Yeah.
Shelly, my coworker Shelly, is a do it. She just like she doesn't wait for it to be perfect. She just gets the content out there, and that has been huge because we've had people tell us, "Well, this was my idea. Like I had this idea." We had somebody tell us, "I had this idea years ago," and in the back of my mind, I'm like, "But you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You were so." My perception of the situation was you were so afraid that somebody else was going to take this idea. You didn't connect with people to make it a reality. And for me,
you hoarded it. You kept it close.
Yeah.
Which means it didn't happen because like it's not just like you want to do things on your own a lot of times. It doesn't happen that way. Like I'm reminded, maybe even just because of its use of the same word, but the Teddy Roosevelt quote of the man in the arena, right? You've got the person performing, or the people, hopefully, right, as to the point we're making, and you still have bystanders, people who are watching. But how many times do you think people step down from being a bystander to come participate, to join the crowd in the performance area of the arena because the call they feel? And if that performer was not there, that person would not have stepped down.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm grateful that Malia stepped down. I'm grateful that I was called out. I mean, I was sharing these ideas, thinking about these things, and Candy called me. She called me and said, "I really like your idea. Can we sit down and talk about it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then Shelly came in on it and said, "Okay, these are great ideas. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get it out there." And it doesn't matter if it's perfect, because it wasn't. We look back on our first videos and go, "Oh," and they're like so much better now.
Yeah.
But the intent was always to be educational. And here's the thing: failure is education.
Yeah.
And when things aren't perfect, you learn and you grow and you become better at what you're doing. And I hope that it gave other people an idea to be like, "Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that." Because there's room for all of us in this in this education platform. And every day I express gratitude for Shelly and Malia and the things that they bring to our company and the things that happen because of our individual strengths.
Yeah. And I think that moves nicely into the next thing I want to talk to you about taking initiative. How do you, some people might be of differing opinions right now with the way the world is. I mean, here we are having this interview while I'm in my home office and you're at your home, around, the economy and the state of the environment. But I feel like there's no better time right now than to get your idea out there. But how do you start that momentum?
How do you start the momentum? I think
that's the hardest part, right? It's like a train. It's so hard to get that train to pull away from the station, but the moment it's rolling, and it's going to keep rolling.
Yeah, I think that desperation breeds innovation, in the sense of I saw something that my students needed, and it was a really frustrating piece that they'd be practicing incorrectly over a weekend, and then they'd have to come back and we'd have to start back at square one. So for me, it was, okay, this is something that I think can change the game. And how that started was sharing that idea with someone who had a strength of connecting me to the right people, who had the strength of getting it out there, who then had the strength of marketing it. Yeah. Like it was, I mean, that chug, that train moving forward starts with that pain point. And I think in our current situation, we're all feeling a lot of pain points. And I hope that this breeds more innovation than it does hoarding.
Yeah.
Now, we recognize that there have been everybody wants to be safe and protect and have the things that they need. Right. And I hope that we can think of things ingenuitively and create an environment where we have the view of an abundance of connections.
Right. Not being stuck in a mentality of scarcity, but allowing.
Yes, and I think our current situation breeds that scarcity mentality.
Yeah.
But I'd like to flip the script.
Yeah.
Oh, please. So.
Yeah.
I think that's how that train starts, is when we're all feeling pain in some sort or a need.
Right. Because it's not just resource hoarding, but the idea hoarding, when we have that scarcity that we end up pulling into ourselves and trying to protect, as opposed to playing.
Right. I've been like buoyed up by hearing about people who are 3D printing masks.
Yeah.
Or that are like these kinds of things, this type of thing. I keep on seeing online, like on Facebook, when it said, was it somebody, the things when people develop things when they're in isolation. Was it Newton? Was it, I'm gonna say it wrong, but like electricity, or like, the most beautiful artwork, or the best song, or things that are developing because we're in a situation that necessitates that type of a thing.
Yeah, well, and you think of too the desire everybody's feeling for human connection right now. Someone told me recently, like, in this time, introverts, please reach out to your extrovert friends.
They're not doing well.
And you and I both as extroverts, right? Like, you think of the ingenuity, the innovation that has come around human connection.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for Zoom, for FaceTime, for Marco Polo, for texting, for Facebook, for Instagram, for all these things that help me feel in some way connected to the outside.
Right. So, not to pivot again, but to pivot, we've got right now we're battling some scarcity mentalities where maybe a little nervous about what's going to happen. It's unpredictable, but like, really, like, honestly, our predictability of tomorrow has not changed. We just have a new scenario that we're adapting to, right? But how do you, in this environment particularly, how do you start to sell your idea? Yes, you bring in those resources, you share it, you have that connection and innovation together. How do you sell your idea?
I mean, the scenario is selling my idea. The fact that our content is online, the fact that everyone is at home and not able to practice clinically, it's a time to brush up on some things that maybe you're not so sure about. You would like some more information about, or how did they do it? How did they do it? How does that look? I mean, meeting with students on a Zoom call or a FaceTime call and walking them through steps. The only thing that dental hygiene educators have right now is what we started with, is giving content online. And I mean, however they do that now with a face-to-face is an extra step, is an extra awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
But it starts with what's available online. I mean, some colleges have released their content, their videos, and for free, and we started out for free. That's how we started, is we recognized a need, and now during this global crisis, that need is elevated, and there are so many more resources than there were before. So that's what's awesome about technology, is now we have a resource in order to share these things. I was at a class last year at the American Dental Hygiene Association, sitting in a class about teaching, and we were talking about active learning. And one of the participants raised their hand and they said, one of the things that we use are these free videos from Hygiene Edge that we use online. And I was sitting there going, yay! And my cute coworker was like, this is one of the creators of Hygiene Edge. And she's just like, thank you so much. It's free content when a lot of colleges do not have the financial resources to buy into a program.
Yeah.
And we were able to do that. So that's what we started off with, the hope that we would be able to help educators and students. And we just get thrilled when we hear that our content is being used. And maybe our content from our first videos are like, now, did you hear anything that was maybe not exactly how the book said it? And then that could be used for another teaching experience.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're still growing, and we still have a lot of things to share. And there's room for others to share their ideas, and let's keep this going so we can help people out.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many areas where this will be applicable. It's a beauty that this is happening today in a day and age where we're prepared to be a bit more accommodating to these scenarios, right? Where we have tools and resources that we can utilize, and maybe to some extent we're having to think creatively about how we bridge that gap between this resource and our execution. But we're more able to do that than ever before in the history of mankind, right?
Yeah, it's the truth.
It's maybe just bridging that little gap between resources and execution.
And I think it's also teaching us the value of human connection.
Yeah.
I love that we have these resources online. I also, as an extrovert, maybe introverts don't feel this way, but as an extrovert, this experience has made me so much more grateful for my face-to-face contact with my students.
Yeah.
For that human connection. And I think that it's a twofold. I can still get you information. I can get you good information. I can give you help. And when we're back together, we will value that time differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so to wrap up, right, when it comes to entrepreneurs, no matter what industry they're in, dentistry, optometry, med spa, marketing, whatever, right? What would be your 3 takeaways for entrepreneurs today?
So my 3 takeaways are from the 3 of us who run Hygiene Edge. The first one is from me. I share ideas. If I have an idea, I want to share them. Like, these are ideas. I think your biggest takeaway is I want everyone to share. If you have a thought, share that idea. Share what you think could be. What are these possibilities? The second one is to find your people, to network. This is Malia. Malia wasn't afraid to say, I have something I can offer you. What do you think? It goes both ways. Look for people that don't have, look for people who do have the strengths that you need to be successful. So the first one, share your ideas. Second one, look for people who have the strengths that you need to make things happen. And if you have that strength and you see somebody who could use what you have, approach them. That's what Malia did. And the third one is do it. This is Shelly. Like, I can sit and talk and pontificate all day long about all these great ideas I have. And Shelly's like, okay, Saturday, have this done by Saturday. Shelly's like, okay, we're going to meet this day. Let's have these videos that we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to share you a Google Doc. I want you to write down the things that you're going to do. Like, you've got to find those people. Yeah. So share your idea, network, and do it.
Yep, it's beautiful. It's like one of our good friends always says, be an action taker, not an insight chaser, right?
Yeah, he's a smart man.
He is. Anyway, Jess, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I know
you, Casey,
are new, unique, unpredictable, and maybe we can start to see them as exciting and filled with opportunity as we look for ways to share our ideas, to provide for better human connection, as we look to incorporate people in new creative ways when we are used to doing them a certain way, right? Now we're doing things like Zoom calls, FaceTime, whatever, right? And then just taking action and not letting this environment stifle us or take us back to that mentality of scarcity. Yeah.
Yeah. There's abundance of good
Yeah.
and abundance of things to learn.
Yeah.
So here we go.
And an abundance of adaptations to be made.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yep.
Well, sure. Love you, Casey. Thanks for the interview.
Hey, you're welcome. Don't actually go. I'm just gonna. Thanks for listening to that episode of We've Connected. Make sure to hit subscribe down below so you get notified of any time we add a new episode. We'll catch you next time.